Greetings, greetings, everyone. Um, Tonight is a very sensitive. I This is very difficult for me to speak about, as this is it's very close to my heart when it comes to children, as well as discussing the abuse of women or the manipulation of women or any type of hurt or pain that anyone is experiencing who people would consider to be, I guess, a weaker source in the community, because men are supposed to be strong, men are supposed to be in power, men are supposed to be protectors, men are supposed to guide us, men are supposed to cultivate us. So this right here that I'm speaking of is heartbreaking. So I just want to be clear as to where I stand. I am not a part of the conscious community. And so some of you may ask why. Because the community is a group of people who have the same character. A community is fellowship with those who share the same attitudes and interests. A community is a group of people who have the same purpose, sort of like the Black Panthers, right? A community should provide mutual support, love, guidance, and cultivation as a collective. A community is a group of people who foster the same morals and values. Now, I'm going to show you why I'm not a part of the conscious community and why we have basically developed our own healing community. Since I did my videos in the summer of this year, the summer of 2025, people, and particularly women, have been sharing multiple videos of women from the conscious community, advising as to, certain things that's just been going on that I feel like were ignored or not addressed. So this is something that reaches to my heart. I do not follow any conscious community channels. If I get information, it's simply because someone has forwarded it to me, because someone felt like, it's just important to share certain things and certain knowledge or certain information. But this young lady, Uma, Dr. York's daughter, she has been speaking out for quite a few years. I was totally not aware of it until someone sent me the video. But it appears to be that not many people were listening to her. And when I say not many people, I'm talking about there are people who are putting her on their platform, which I am extremely grateful. Because if it wasn't for those other people putting her on the platform, I would not have known her story. And I would not have been able to compare the pattern of her story with the comparable of the pattern of my story. So I want to say I'm extremely grateful and thankful for the people who have been putting her on the channel. Although there are much larger channels who could have put her story on, just the same as there are much larger channels who could have adhered to my situation too. And so this is why I say I feel like a lot of women and some children are being ignored when they cry out in pain. And this is a way that people, they may cause some type of some suffering. But it seems like no one would listen. And so why is that? Because I feel like they expected her to get tired, to give up. They didn't expect her to push forward. They expected the childhood trauma to expand and cause her to maybe delete herself. They completely ignored her tears, her pain, her cries for help. She's clearly passionate about speaking regarding her situation, her trauma, and also her brother's trauma. She, from what I'm viewing from the outside looking in, because I don't know her, I don't believe that I've ever met her because she was much younger when these things were happening to her. But she's passionate about speaking regarding her situation, her trauma, and also her brother's trauma. She needed guidance, protection, support. Lastly, she needed to have closure. And I really hope that that video that I saw that someone forwarded to me was enough for her, was some type of closure for her. Those people put her brother and her in survival mode. And we all know what happens when you get put into survival mode, right? They were intimidating them. They were stalking them. They were harassing them. And they tried to take her brother's life. And so the reason I'm putting a conscious community title on here is because I don't really know anyone from the Nuwaubian community, or maybe I do and maybe they didn't represent themselves. So the two people that she's talking about, I have met, I have been around, and they are certainly from the conscious community. And I'm guessing this type of harassment or bullying that she went through, it went on for some time. And I can only imagine how frightened they were. Like so young and having an all-out battle with multiple grown men who were interested in taking from them. These grown men waged war on people who were young, ganging up on them with a mob-like mentality, street gang mentality, even mafia mentality. And this was years ago. What, maybe 10, 8, 9, 10, 11 years ago? I'm not really sure, but it was certainly a long time prior to my situation, which is only 2 years old. Now you push forward to today, 2025, and you go back to the summer and you listen to my video regarding who came against me in the conscious community. It's clear that this is their character. And there are more stories. However, people are afraid to speak up against injustice. People are fearful of being attacked, being blackballed, being ostracized, being isolated, as if there's no other people in the world to connect with. Know that there's millions and billions of people in the world. You will find someone else to connect with. You will build relationships with other beings. No one should entertain a community full of abusers, robbers, thieves, murderers, or child predators. So, let's chat a bit about that. Let's chat a bit about adults dating children. Now, this is about to get really sensitive. So I'm warning you, and I put on the title trigger warning. So you could leave now because I'm warning you to get off the live because what I'm saying is very sensitive. I'm going to start with a story regarding a class given by a person who considers themselves a spiritual teacher. And yes, they're popular. The spiritual teacher was leading the class down the road of a conversation where grown men would have relations with youngins. I listened intently and observed. Everyone else did the same. At the end of the presentation, I asked everyone in the class if they would give their 7-year-old to an adult to have a relationship. And would you believe how frightened they were to answer the question? How they couldn't find the nerve to speak up freely and say whatever was on their mind. Scared to answer the question. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they were idolizing the teacher. Maybe they were intimidated by the teacher, or maybe they were intimidated by other students. This class that I was in had both men and women. So you can only come to a number of conclusions, afraid to say what's really on their mind, or maybe some of them desired a youngin themselves. I'm not really sure. Side note, I do remember my stalker saying that he wanted a youngin. And at that time, I didn't say anything. And you guys know who my stalker were. You can go back and look at the videos in the summer. But I didn't say anything. But he claimed that it's very easy and it's accepted in the conscious community. I didn't inquire as to how young he wanted them to be. I simply filed it away in my mind under leave now. At that point, it was too many red flags. Now let's take this a little bit deeper. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Imagine a 30, 40, 50, or even a 60-year-old adult having relations with a 12-year-old. I'll use the age 12 since this is the age Dr. York's daughter used. Now, most of the women can relate to this. Ladies, do you remember what your first time was like? Was there pain? Maybe you were a teenager with another teenager, or maybe you were with someone of similar age. But here we are speaking of grown adults entering or having relations with a 12-year-old. What do youngins say when they are essayed? They say that they are hurt. They say that this person hurt me. This is an indication that the child is in pain. Physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain. This will cause severe trauma on children. And I would think that everybody would know this, but it seems to be that a lot of people don't. So here's a question for you. Would a 12-year-old know how to have a relationship? Would a 12-year-old know what is expected of them in a marriage or a relationship with a person who is 30, 40, 50, or 60 years old? Are they mature enough to carry on a full-blown relationship with an adult? What happens when they are around other 12-year-olds or other children? What happens when they're around other adults? How do they respond? How do they act? How do they carry themselves? Do they know what to do? Do they know what to say? Do they know when to act? When to act out what was taught to them? When I was young, I'd see young ones who were essayed. They never said anything to me about it, but it was a knowing and it was obvious. Because we would see the youngins do things in public that were completely inappropriate. I mean, getting on poles, jumping on other adults. And this is because they didn't know that this act is something that is done in private because they're children and they don't know any better. And every single time I saw an adult come out to the park and saw the child doing inappropriate things on the pole, the adult would run and stop them. Every time I saw the child do something in the household around other adults, the adults would stop them. So here's the deal. Every time another adult came, they stopped them, right? Children, half the time, children, they don't know what's really going on. They can't even explain what they're doing. They can't even describe the act. They don't even know the name of it. So the lack of knowledge regarding their little chakras, they're not fully developed. Babies actually have the ability to utilize their mother's chakras until they're at least 7 years old. So a lot of them, their bodies are not even developed. So I don't, maybe it's just me, right? Okay. So moving on. Now, here are some thoughts that I get from people. When I started making comments about the videos that was sent to me from Dr. York's daughter, people were saying, "Oh, Miss Bliss, you know nothing about our beliefs. You know nothing about our spirituality, our connection with our children. There's nothing wrong with this. And it's permitted in other countries. This is perfectly fine in third world countries." Yes, that may be true. But you got to look at who's in prison for participating in these types of acts. Look at the number of Black people who have been portrayed all over the media, and look at where they're at right now, based off of what I'm speaking about right now, here in America. But more importantly, what about the contradiction? Do you question all of the social media warnings from your spiritual leaders? The way some of them say, protect your babies from the white man and protect them from these Congress people, protect them from these movie stars, protect them from these sports players, protect your babies from these rappers, protect your babies from these demons. But they don't say a word about the babies in the community that are being attacked by the people in the community. And within the same right, promote grown men dating little youngins. What about the ones who hang out with the ones who have 12-year-old relationships? So now, of course, everyone is not participating in this kind of activity, right? But there are people who do not participate, but know who does participate. You get my drift? So what role do they play? How do you factor this in if a person has full knowledge that another person is with a child? Even though they don't participate in it, they know about it. How is it that we can call out R. Kelly, but not our own community? Do these people have supporters or people who coordinate regarding these matters, or do they act alone? R. Kelly didn't act alone. R. Kelly had supporters. And P. Diddy, I didn't hear anything about children with him, but he had supporters while he was doing whatever it is that he was doing. So it appears to be that there's always people who are aware of this. Now, I have been around both of these men mentioned in the video. In addition, I visited the property that Uma York speaks about in Brooklyn, New York. At the time when I visited the property, it was promoted to me as if it was Brother Light's business, as if it was Brother Polite's property. I had absolutely no idea that it was Dr. York's property or that it was left to his children. It was never advised to me. I listened to Brother Polite speak at many presentations, and we all know who was promoting him. This is not new news, right? And it's unfortunate that this young lady had to suffer this way. I can't say who or what each person did. However, I do remember talk about an arrest, a court case with Brother Polite, and I'm not sure if this is the one that's connected to him attempting to take her brother's life. But Brother Polite spoke boldly and out loud about his court case. So, but like I said, I never met Uma or her brother or any one of those people from the family. So Dr. York's daughter said that Brother Polite, and I'm going to give you guys here is Dr. York's daughter, a beautiful young lady. Dr. York's daughter said that Brother Polite took a weapon and tried to take her brother's life. Now, I don't believe in hurting women, hurting children. I don't believe in projecting mental abuse or physical abuse on anyone. But even if no one knew at that time what Brother Polite did, I'm pretty sure many people knew later on. And so the sooner you find out and you address the problem, the better off we are. But here we are many, many years later, 8, 9, 10 years later, and this young lady is still speaking about this abuse. Now, no, I'm not surprised. No, I am surprised that someone from the conscious community would do this. No, not at all, because this is very, very similar to my situation. This is very similar to the attacks on me. And when I say that, thank goodness my spiritual gifts were activated. Thank goodness I am, I would say, mature enough, but actually old enough. And I had the support, to guide me. She's saying that, she was looking to him for support, for guidance, to protect her. And he's saying that he was busy. And so I do know him, but in hindsight, I would have said, you would reach out to her after you finish with your busyness. You would connect with her after you're done with whatever business you were handling. That's what, men who are responsible for children would do. And I believe she said he was her like spiritual father or a spiritual something, like, someone who was in charge of monitoring her and her well-being. So part of that responsibility, I would believe, would be to make sure that she's okay. He responded to her that he heard that she was, I believe he said he heard that she was on drugs or something like that, or she was a hot mess running through the streets. But again, if you heard this, then that is a rumor. And for me, if you are a spiritual leader, you don't participate in rumors. You call that person and you say, hey, are you okay? What's going on with you? Or, I need to see you in person. I need to see if you're okay. I need to see if you look like or acting like you're on drugs. I need to communicate with you. See if your speech is slurring. See if your skin is deformed. See if your clothes are shabby. Are you cleaning your body? Like, all of these signs would tell you someone was on drugs. I personally would not listen to rumors, because this is a unhealthy thing that goes on in a conscious community. There's always so many rumors about people, destroying people's reputation, destroying people's character, and you don't know if it's true or not. And it's really an injustice to her and to anyone that they're doing it to. It's absolutely unfair. So I have come to realize that these are people, basically, and I said this before, these are people from the hood, right? These are people who are from the ghetto, who have been granted some type of authority, some type of knowledge that they interpret as power to take someone's life, someone's property, someone's money or business. And if you allow them, they'll take your little one and keep it moving. So it is a contradiction to hang out with a party or a group or a person or do events or do ceremonies with people who are predators and or people who know who the other predators are, right? So you can't sit here and say, save the children, protect the children. And this young lady has been crying out, not to mention I have been speaking out, and then I find out that other women besides myself, besides Uma York, have been speaking about the injustice on women. And all of these women were ignored pretty much. So this is a community that ignores the pain of women and children. This community will never survive because of this. And it's completely an injustice. So I would say, brothers and sisters, protect your children, protect your women. It's a contradiction to lead a platform and have predators on there, or have people who know who the predators are on the platform, and never, ever, ever put the victim on your platform. You never, ever allow the victim to speak their story, speak about their story, or communicate with their pain. And so the longer this goes on, the more pain that's projected. I'm fortunate to have my own YouTube channel. I'm extremely fortunate. You see, it's the same concept with me, figuring that this young lady can talk all day, but no one would address her pain, her hurt, her abuse. However, I will speak about it. And this is an injustice within the Black community. Why haven't other conscious community people lent their social media to her? Because they are, and I said this before, we're dealing with wingmen. These are wingmen. Birds of a feather flock together. They stand in unison, no matter, however. And so people are paying attention. The world is watching. Those videos that she did, I mean, I wasn't looking for the videos. I never found the videos. And some of those videos was 4 years old. And I'm like, I never saw these videos. Neither did I see the videos of the other women that they sent to me. And I'm going to tell you who those other women are. But I want to say that, if people are really paying attention to this, the most important thing is that if we're seeing this, and these women are speaking out, and these children are speaking out, you think those alphabet boys don't see what's going on? You think those 3-letter agencies aren't watching? Here's the concern, and I speak from my heart and I speak out of love. When you align yourself with predators or people who know who the predators are, people who take advantage of children, people who are robbers, thieves, scammers, people making attempts on other people's lives, it's seen on social media because you're sharing the platform with them. So, let me greet my audience. I'm just like going off and off and off, y'all. I'm in a trance, really. Greetings, Miss Bliss. We support you, babe. Hey, what's up? Hey, love. This is an injustice to women and children. Absolutely. We got your back, hon. I love you guys. Sending love and positivity, although this is a sensitive topic, extremely sensitive, guys. Greetings, Miss Bliss. Good to see you. Good to see you. Sending you high vibrations, hun. You are divinely guided. Hey, Bliss, speaking from divine wisdom. There's some hearts, some love, some kisses, some poo, poo, poo. Love you guys. Peace and love, Bliss. Love that you're speaking up and speaking out. Magic LaCroix, yes. Those alphabet boys definitely see what's going on. Yo, shout out to Magic LaCroix, guys. I have been on his YouTube channel. I do plan on going back as soon as we're able to coordinate. And so I want to continue on, guys. Yeah, those alphabet boys are watching and observing. And those 3-letter agencies, they're not playing. And even if you are not the one who did the dirt or did the deed, they will have to investigate you because they see you running in a pack. And so you may not want to be investigated, but these guys, you know, they're not going to be like, hey, we're investigating you. They're investigating you and they're watching you and they're observing you. And so they're watching every move that you make. They're watching who you are around. And so not only does it trigger an investigation of you, it triggers an investigation of everyone around you. Brothers and sisters, I need you to start thinking better. I need you to entertain the idea of critical thinking. When you hop on social media with these people, it sends a signal that you played a role in a situation. There's foul play within the community, clearly, because Uma York, one of her videos, guys, I cried. I couldn't finish watching the video. I was nauseous. I had to gather myself. I had to, whew. Y'all go and look up the videos and see yourself what I'm talking about. But if all of those, I want you to imagine this, if all of those children came forward, it would trigger a hell of an investigation within the conscious community. An investigation that would have been done from the men in the conscious community a long time ago. Because when you have men in the community who care about women and children, it would never have gotten this far. They would have dived in, addressed the situation, handled their business, because that's what men are supposed to do. But when you bring in the alphabet boys, those 3-letter agencies, and they coming in, they're going to put the Timmy down on you. And it ain't going to be soft-handed slaps. And everyone involved is going to be held accountable. So I feel like the community should learn to police themselves. They should organize, you know, to confirm what happened to those children. They should coordinate to get those children and find out if they are okay. Are those children healing? Because a lot of those children are adults now. And so, like I said, the trauma doesn't just leave you overnight. This type of trauma stays with you all the way up into when you're an adult. And if you don't find anyone to help you through your healing journey, you're going to be acting out. You're going to be acting a fool. You're going to be, who knows what you're going to be doing. So honestly, if anyone says that this young lady is in her masculine energy, or they say that she was a terrible, rebellious child and that she was disconnected and she was on drugs and she was run out in the street, what the hell did you expect? That, to me, comes across as heartless, inconsiderate, unloving, unnurturing, a lack of guidance, a lack of care for her. And this is the same thing that I experienced. So it's a lack of love and compassion for people who are traumatized and people who were forced on the children. She mentions that a lot of children were running away and rebelling. Well, what did you expect? What type of reaction would you expect from someone who's been gang stalked, harassed, threatened, molested, essayed, not to mention an attempt on her brother's life? Did you expect her to be calm, loving, quiet when no one protected her? No one protected her brother. She has learned to be tough, to fight back, to speak up. If you can't see that, then you're unfeeling, uncaring, and unloving. She needed love. She definitely needed a hug. She certainly deserves an apology and absolutely some type of acknowledgement. This is cold. This is heartless. This is heartbreaking. This is betrayal. And she is heartbroken and speaking from a place of passion and pain. Brothers and sisters, we must open our hearts and be compassionate. A community that refuses to show empathy and love for women and children is a community that will fail, as the children are the heart of the community because they are the future of the community. Women and children are the heart of the community. I repeat, women and children are the heart of the community. Any community that ignores the pain and the cries and the trauma from women and children is a community that would never, ever, ever be successful in anything that they do. And I tell y'all, man, all of this is heart-wrenching. So I want to speak about the YouTube channels that people have sent me. Okay, here we go. So there's another young lady. Her name is Tiffany Heals, Tiffanni Heals, Heals. She did a video 2 years ago, November 4th, 2023. She got about 65,000 views. Now, she's not talking about child abuse. She's talking about people from the conscious community trying to attack her based off of what she was saying, trying to take her life based off of what she was speaking about. There's another YouTube channel, Onyx Rising. Her video was about 2 years ago, July 23rd, 2023. She got about 43,000 views. Now, I don't know if these two women know each other, but they kind of had the same topic. And I don't think Onyx Rising received any attacks because she didn't speak on them, or any threats on her life because she didn't mention that. The YouTube channel Moorish World TV did a video about a month ago with Uma York on it. Then I think they did a video with her maybe 2 years ago prior to that. And a lot of times she's speaking about the abuse of children. Like, those videos I could barely watch. There was another video that Uma York did on a channel called WARNNG Community. It's the word one, ONNEKEMMAINITY, and they are from the United Kingdom. So I think that video was September 22nd, 2021. So people have been lending her the platform. However, I stress to you, those platforms are nowhere near those large platforms in the conscious community who could really get the word out that this is not right. And so that's why I'm speaking on it, because I want to make sure that I put this on my platform too, that I help to get the word out, right? So the YouTube channel Moorish World did a video on March 16th, 2024, where Uma York was talking about men surrounding a girl and beating the woman down. This is the video where I was almost throwing up and crying, and how she doesn't bring her children around these people or her family, how it's very toxic. And in this video, she mentioned children that were younger than 12. These children were 7 to 8. And whew, y'all, this is crazy. She said that she doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink, she don't take pills, she don't take drugs. But then again, all of that would be rumors now, wouldn't it? And so if you're a mature adult, you would have a conversation with any person who's being accused of doing anything, because that's what mature adults do, right? She spoke about how a lot of people came against her because of Brother Polite. Like, these grown men were ganging up against her and her brother, who were very young. Again, this mob-like mentality, this gangster activity, this gangster-like mentality, this group think, group action, without the use of love, without the use of wisdom, without the use of discernment. How there was a lot of fraud. She mentioned fraud, which is no surprise to me, because I told you guys it was fraud in my situation in the summertime also. So that I'm not surprised. But she mentioned there was life insurance fraud, life insurance policies, that her father owned 30 properties, how these people were trying to take over the properties. I mean, she talks about a lot. So you guys, you go and check out those videos that I mentioned. For Uma York, I wanted to say something. My dear, you have a warrior-like spirit. And I think that you realize that none of these men are going to save you or protect you. And I'm speaking from my own personal warrior spirit. You may feel that these men have betrayed you and your brother, and you had to show up for yourself. You had to protect yourself, defend yourself. What happened to you was unjust. And now everyone sees that life is not fair in the conscious community. And I guess also this might have started in the Nuwapian community. Know that you are independent and free of past violations. Take the time to heal and do self-care and self-love. That video you did a few months ago was a personal breakthrough and emotional release. I want to give you your flowers and acknowledge your strength and power. I see your bravery and inner light. I see your pain and I feel your grief, as I have had a similar experience, and I wouldn't wish this on anyone. What I learned from my attackers is that people are unfeeling and lack compassion, and it doesn't matter what community they are from. Know that when life breaks you, it's because it's putting you back together differently. You feel shattered, but the cracks are where the light gets in. And that cosmic light enhances your inner light. And this is your butterfly transformation. They didn't break you. You alchemize and transmute that pain into something wonderful. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. Now, back to why I do not consider myself to be in alignment with the conscious community. This is in conclusion because I'm getting ready to close out. So my morals and values are not the same as the conscious community. My character stands out amongst them because I believe in honesty, integrity, authenticity, protecting women, protecting children. I believe in building and working together and providing for the community. I believe in good partnerships where people can come together for the good of the people. And big egos could not survive in a healing community, which is the community that I'm part of. People who believe that they are bigger than a community could not survive in a healing community, not in our community. Leaders who block out important people who could elevate the community would not survive in a healing community, not in the community I'm with. We don't believe that one leader has all of the answers because we are a collective of thinkers who are here to resolve problems. We don't abandon our own. We don't abuse our children. We are building an empire whereby everyone has the knowledge and intellect to individually create something for the people. However, we also have the ability to come together as a collective to manifest larger projects that produce success and positivity for people. We are not so arrogant that we cannot take advice from another culture, as we are fully aware that we do not have all of the answers. A lot of this stuff requires research, due diligence, coordination, certainly love and compassion for each other. For these reasons and for more that I mentioned in my videos in the summer, I'm not a member of the conscious community. I don't consider myself a member of the conscious community. And so there you have it. And so I just want to give you guys a little bit of face-to-face. How y'all doing out there? So what drew me to this was because people were sending me these videos, right? And so I completely moved by spirit. Everything spirit is guiding me to say or to do, I do it. So spirit guided me to do my video in this summer of 2025 and to not show any photos, not mention names, just to do the videos expressing what I was going through, what was happening, because spirit said, now sit back and wait and see who jumps up and says anything. This is what spirit is guiding me. And I'm like, spirit, I just want to talk. I just want to say everything. I just want to get it out. And spirit is like, hold on, be patient, do the videos. So week after week, month after month, I'm doing the videos. And so spirit is like, they're watching you. And I was like, who's watching me? So I'm getting the downloads of who's watching. So I know who's watching. And so spirit is telling me, they're saying things like, oh, what is she talking about? Why is she talking about the conscious community? Who does she think she is? Not one of them said, is she okay? Should we check on her? What's going on? This doesn't sound right. This is an injustice. She needs some type of guidance. She needs cultivation. She needs protection. Nope. So I was like, okay, spirit, what do I do now? So spirit said, you're going to drop the bomb on September 27th. So that's what I did. On September 27th, everyone was reacting. And why were they reacting? Because I started mentioning names. That's why they were reacting. Prior to that, they didn't give a damn, because they simply don't give a damn. Guys, This is what their character is. This is what you're dealing with. And so after that, Spirit, I got downloads where Spirit was saying, they were saying that I was arrogant. Now, why would they say that I'm arrogant? Because arrogant means that a person comes across as if they know everything. No one can teach them anything. No one can tell them anything. And I've always said that I'm a student. I'm always willing to learn. I'm always looking for guidance. But they had to say that because they know they didn't look out for me. They know they didn't check on me. They know they didn't guide me. All these spiritual leaders and these psychic abilities, and they don't see what's going on. And so they just didn't do anything, right? So it kind of quieted down, and then people saw my videos and they started forwarding me videos from these other women. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know. I said, I'm going to say something. Boom. As soon as I said that, here they go again. How dare you speak about us and our religions and our beliefs? You don't know anything. You don't know anything about what we believe. You don't know anything about our practices with children. And I said, well, I may not know anything about your religion, but if there's one thing I know, and I know pain. And that's all I need to know. I know pain and I know injustice when it comes to women and it comes to children. And that is what I am very capable of speaking about. And that's why I'm speaking. So, as of tonight, I'm going to be playing a game with you guys. I have designed a psychic game and I want to pull in people to play the game with me. I have to finish figuring out exactly how it's going to work because I don't know everyone who's subscribed to my channel. I do know some of the people and some of the people know me. So the people who know me will certainly be able to participate in the game. The people who don't know me, I got to kind of figure out how I'm going to pull you in. So 2026, guys, we're going to be having some fun. We're going to be playing some psychic games. And we got to stay positive. We got to move forward. We got to march on. And remember that life is beautiful. And we all have some healing to do. No one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I mean, if we all were perfect, we'd be like Buddha, Jesus, energy. We would have more Malcolm X's around here. We'd have more Black Panthers around here now, wouldn't we? So when we look at ourselves and see our own flaws, that's when we do the inner work and the healing on ourselves. And I want to invite everyone to do integration and look at your childhood wounds and see what pain or trauma you're dealing with, because we all have pain and we all have trauma. No one's perfect, right? And what I want to say is for men, we do have some good men out here. That's the first thing I want to say. I have been around some very good quality men. However, I want to say the ones who are, I guess you would say, not so good, there's work to be done. And so this is not me being arrogant. This is not me being bossy or telling you what to do. This is based off of what I have seen and what I have experienced, and based off of what I have heard other women speak about, and now children growing up speaking about this. And so if you want to have a community that's going to be successful, you want to have a community that's supposed to rise up, you want to have a community that's supposed to take over this world, you want to have a community full of people who's supposed to activate spiritually with their spiritual gifts, then in order to do this, you got to move like gods. You got to move like gods now. You don't have a lot of time. So with that said, I am done. I want to bid you all a good night. And I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for entertaining me speak on this topic. It is a very sensitive topic. It was very difficult for me to speak about because I love children. And I wish we had more brotherly love and more sisterly love. So with that, I want to bid you all happy holidays. If you celebrate any type of holidays this time of year, I want to bid you all farewell. Stay in your light, stay in positivity, and I love you. Mwah! Have a good night, everyone. Take care of yourselves.